Hey there, Internet Keep here, and welcome to the Cars That Keep YouTube channel. And this video is 5 months in the making since Griots Garage released at SEMA their cordless electric foamer and sprayer. Now, this was supposed to kind of be available like in the January, February time frame, but it really got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. Now, this is $129.99, so this better be some stellar product right here. It does foam and it does spray, and it is cordless. So there aren't that many products out there that actually do that in this smaller form factor. Now the SPTA, which I just did a video or two ago, you can go back and check that. The SPTA is much cheaper at about $70. Sometimes it's less on Amazon with coupons. Right now this is only available at Griots. Hopefully it'll be available on Amazon at some point. The SPTA has a big compressor at the bottom that fills up the tank with air, and then it allows you to pressurize, spray it out. Now, what I've seen so far when it comes to the pump, air compressor style sprayers like this, they tend to spray better than the electrical ones because the pressurized just shoots better, does better with chemicals, but they don't last as long and you have to maintain them much more. The gaskets and seals have to be changed out. You have pressurized air in the tank. This doesn't. It just sucks the liquid out and shoots it. There's less maintenance overall with this unit. The Griots weighs about 2 pounds empty. It has a 1400 milliliter, 1.4 liter capacity here, about 47 ounces. It does have charging through USB, so it has a USB cable. It is a proprietary connection, which sucks. You're gonna have to go back to them most likely to get the cord if you need an extra one if you lose one. I still don't understand at $129.99 why we don't have USB-C in here. Here we are up close. It's a good form factor. It's nice and ergonomic. You have the knobs right here that help guide your fingers. It just overall feels good. It doesn't feel top heavy, it doesn't feel really heavy. Push the button here, there's your battery level indicator. The only problem I have with this whole unit is when you take the port off to put your charger in here, this does not indicate that it is charging or if it is full. You basically have to come over here and then pull the wire out and then hold the button down to see that if it's at max capacity. You have this knob right here, low and high, all the way to the left, and it's a lot of turns to get it to go all the way to the high point. We take the tank off. As you can see, it's not pressurized. So it has two knobs. There's a clear one right here and a red one. The red one is the suction tube. This is just kind of a vent that allows the suction to take place. We have a nice, clear, very flexible tube. And then we have a filter at the bottom. I kind of prefer if they would went with the weighted ball that they have with the Griots Boss foam cannon. As you see, there's a dot on the device. There's a dot on the bottle that allows you to line up to let you know that it is tightened the way it's supposed to be. Here's your adjustable nozzle that really isn't that adjustable. I'll show you here in a little bit in the testing. I'm kind of disappointed in this part. To change out the foam, you would just unscrew this part. And here's a little filter that goes inside. You leave it blank if you're shooting chemicals, but if you want to do foam, you add these yellow foam pieces inside and then you stack them up. One for the lightest amount of foam, 2, 3. I think 3 is about the sweet spot. Pop that on. Then we put our foam tip in here. For vertical spray, there is a marking on the tip and on the device to let you know. And then if you want to go horizontal, you just go over about a quarter turn. So to operate, you have a button on the back here, and this button can be pressed lightly to just be a single shot, or hold it lightly to be as long as you want, or you can click it, it'll stay locked, it'll stay spraying until you unclick it again. So for the sprayer part, we're going to go through 2 chemicals that we normally go through, which is about a 4:1 dilution ratio of Super Clean. And then we'll do full strength of G-Technic Iron and Fall Remover W6. This is the newer formula, but it's stickier than most chemicals and it tends to not spray very well. And most of these electric type sprayers that suck the liquid does pretty well in the air compressed ones. For the foam, we're just going to use G-Technic G-Wash. Foams really well, it's highly concentrated. Some things, like if you buy a McGuire's Gold Class or something like that from AutoZone, you're going to have to put a lot of soap in there to get the same foam level that you could with just a little bit of this. So before we get any further to the video, check out the links below. I'll have a link to Griots for this. Once it's available on Amazon or another platform that I have affiliate with, I'll put those links below as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get the testing. So we have G-Technic W6 Fallout Remover in here, full strength. We have the knob to full low foam. We have no foam tip in here. We have the adjustability all the way to full mist. I mean, it's spraying it. It's a bit sputtery. You just kind of sit here and turn it on and just kind of dial it. That's a little bit too much sputter. You also want to make sure that you're not getting any drippage from here. That means you got it too high. The one thing about this is, even when it's spraying a chemical, it's still trying to foam it a little bit, which is good. Helps for cling. So if you're working in a specific area, you just want one spot to be covered. You do a little dab like that. Doesn't waste a lot of product. Acts almost like a single pump sprayer. But you see, it sprays it, and we do get a pretty decent coverage. Forgot to show you this earlier, but this does have some really nice markings as milliliter markings at very good intervals and ounce markings as well. So here's super clean, 4:1. We're leaving the knob in the same spot that we had for the G-Technic. Yeah, look at that coverage. You see how it foams it more even without the foam, like I said earlier, but this is much better coverage. You see it's a thinner liquid. It's going to spray better. I think we're already pretty dialed in for that one. So here's the adjustability up close. As you can see, it's really small, the tip here. This is a poor design. When you use it for a good bit, this tip sometimes needs to suck itself closed and it's hard to undo. Move just a little bit. That's full mist. And that's full stream. Like, I'm talking like 6 millimeters of movement. I wonder if this can be hacked, you know, like put in a different one, because this tip right here, to me, for $130, this is pretty poor. This was Griots, this was not thought out. But I didn't get this to spray chemicals. Let's try the foam. We have 3 of the yellow filters. You can see mine's already starting to get dirty. You can clean these out very easily. You can leave chemicals in a bottle, but run water through the head, through the filters to get them cleaned up. We're gonna put that in there. Gonna screw on our foam tip. So we have our foam mix. We have 45 ounces of water in here and 1 ounce of G-Technic G-Wash. We'll be playing with the adjustment on this so you can see how that foam changes. I've got 3 filters in here. That's what it says in the instructions. I'm just gonna dial based off of that. As you get into the foam, the high concentration at the top and the bottom of the spray really becomes evident. You have this middle that's not doing much. So I'm gonna show you when you go to full low foam, it's not even actually worth it at the full low foam, because you have these streams, like you have nothing in the middle. So the best thing to do is just kind of sit out here and just kind of dial back until that middle starts filling up. Now we're getting into the foam. You see that middle starting to fill up a little bit more? And then we can have a nice foam coverage. But if I try to go a little bit higher up into the foam, we're gonna start getting that spatter. And this just isn't helpful at all. So when you pull this thing more to the higher foam, you get a lot of loss right here where it's just kind of building up right there and dropping. That's probably about the best coverage that I think I've seen so far in the testing. Like I said, if I go slow, I get a pretty decent coverage. If I move in, the foam gets thicker. Obviously my spray pattern gets smaller, but I could run like this pretty quickly. I'll show you up close. Nice thick foam. I mean, it really does make good foam. That's gonna dwell off really nicely. Now, one thing you can't do with the foamer part is that instant spritz like you can with the chemical. If you do, it just kind of like bubbles up and you lose a lot of soap. Nothing much happens. You have to get it going, and then once you get it going, we don't lose as much soap. Tests have gone pretty good so far. It can spray everything that we need. It can foam, do everything we want. The adjustability is kind of but it does pretty good. So what we want to do now is can a full container here cover an entire car. Now, I'm not talking about some big pickup truck or big SUV. Say like my BMW 335, medium-sized car that takes about 7.5 of these hoods to get the coverage basically that you would need. It might need a little bit less than that. So all we're going to really do is time how long it takes me to get a really nice coverage on a single hood. We're going to fill it back up. Then we're going to turn on and let it spray until it's done spraying. Then we'll divide them, and that's basically how many hoods we're going to have. All right, here we go. Now you can see I'm probably going a little bit faster than most people would to get the foam. But if I say I'm traveling, I'm trying to cover an entire car, I'm not going to try to cover it in thick foam, because that's just going to take forever. I'm probably not going to have a good rinse source when I'm traveling. I'm just trying to get enough soap on the surface to get that pre-rinse, We're gonna have a bucket method most likely to have lubricity. We'll do, if you do another foaming to help in that process. This is more or less what I would think that I would be doing, say as a pre-rinse, but we'll come back and we'll coat it a little bit thicker. This is one other method that I'm talking about where you kind of cover and you just kind of go back over it again. And you just kind of hit those spots that you were a little light on. Pretty light down there. I mean, I think we're pretty good right there. I mean, like I said, there's no way I'm going to cover it like this the whole time. That would take forever. That took about 1 minute and 15 seconds. And say if I was doing a pre-rinse, I would probably try to run in even lesser dilution or take some of those foam filters out. So to cover the whole car, we are going full capacity here. So we are way above the 46. I'd say we're at well over 50 ounces. This is an air compressor style. Those you have to leave enough room for the air to collect. This is sucking, so it needs very little air, just enough for that vent tube, and that's about it. We're just gonna sit here and we're just gonna press the button and press start and let her go. We've hit the end of the line at about 14 minutes and 40 seconds. Still sputtering out. So let's check the battery. Still got 2 bars, about half left. We did the 14 minutes. I said 15 plus 5 minutes worth of playing around, 20 minutes so far. They say it should last 60 minutes. We're just going to turn this on and let it run and see how far it goes. We fully charged this overnight. It says it only takes 2 hours. So we're not going to fill it up anymore. We're going to leave a little bit of liquid that's down there. It's just going to run on its own. There's really nothing here indicating it's running other than a whirring sound. When we're doing a time lapse, I have no idea if that's going to translate, but we do have the timer here. Let's go.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play.
At just a little bit over an hour and 16 minutes, it finally died. Not to mention the other 5 or 10 minutes that we played around with it before we even started this. So an hour 20 or so, pretty good. Now I do think we need to count this at about an hour, not like the hour and 20 minutes, because that last large amount of time, there was no liquid in here. And I believe the liquid would cause a little more load on the pump, cause the battery to drain faster. So I think an hour is very safe, pretty cool. 15 minutes, like I said, it's almost 2 medium-sized cars based on a little over a minute per panel. We could do 2 cars on 1 tank. I don't think the covers would be very well, but I do think with that we could very easily do 6 to 8 cars on a single charge. Now, is it worth the $129.99? I guess to the right person. I think the biggest design of this was to be something that has longevity and doesn't require a lot of maintenance for people who are going to use them constantly over and over and over and over again. I think for the car enthusiasts at the house, I think the SPTA is probably the better choice. But hey, I mean, if you're a Griots person, they got a really nice product here. I don't have anything bad to say about it other than the spray nozzle having not enough adjustability. The adjustability is too short and the tip is too small. That's what she said, right? So that's it for this video. Check out the links below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. So before we get any further, check out the link. Oh my gosh. So before we get any further, subscribe to the oh my gosh. So before we get any further, oh my gosh. Of course, I didn't time any of this. Idiots. Oh my gosh. Gonna be some bloopers on this one.